This is the series of lecture number 5. Here we will derive the Navier-Stokes equation, famous Navier-Stokes equation from momentum balance equation. In the lecture number 4, we have already derived this part. This is the momentum balance equation expressed in terms of pressure and the viscous stress terms is written here, okay, and this is the uh, body forces, okay. So as you can see here, this is our rate of change of momentum in x direction. Rho substantial derivatives of u with respect to time equal to del minus del p over del x plus del tau xx over del x plus del tau yx over del y del tau zx over del z plus smx. This is the actually the body forces which may act on the fluid particles. Sometimes, most of the times, it can be the gravity forces also. Okay, so in instead of smx, you can also see rho times g into volume of the fluid particle. Okay, so now here we are going to express these terms in more detail. This is the substantial derivatives, and this can be written as del u over del t plus u times del u over del y del x plus v times del u over del y plus w times del u over del z. This is actually a rate of change of momentum, rho times velocity divided by time. Okay, as you can see here, u is also function of here time and space. When the function is in such a way that space and time both distributions are given for the velocity u, then rate of change of velocity can be expressed in this way. Okay, for the substantial derivatives, I have already discussed these things in lecture number 3. Okay, so I don't need to discuss it here again. So now this substantial derivatives has been little bit elaborated in this way. What is this tau xx, tau yx and tau zx? This is the shear stress in x plane in x direction, in y plane in x direction, z plane in x direction. Direction is same here, direction is same. Okay, this is the direction. Okay, and x, y and z is actually a plane. Okay, uh, x plane means the plane perpendicular to the x-axis, the plane perpendicular to the y-axis, the plane perpendicular to the z-axis. Okay, so you can imagine a plane where the stresses are acting. Okay, so this is the x direction momentum balance equation. Similarly, for y direction momentum balance equation can be written as in this way. Okay, here tau xy means shear stress in x plane in y direction. Okay, so and here y plane in y direction, z plane in y direction. Okay, and corresponding body forces are written here as my. For the z direction, it is written that way. So let us see how many stresses are acting on the fluid. The fluid particles have total of 9 components of the shear stress. Okay, these are actually normal stress. Let me blue and this here blue. Okay, so these are the normal stress, and this is the in this way this is the direction, in this way this is the plane. So tau xx means tau is acting in x plane in x direction. Tau xy means x plane in y direction. Okay. Tau xz means x plane in z direction. Direction is x, y, z. And here this is the direction. Okay. Direction is the same, but the plane is different. Plane is tau x, x plane, y plane, and z plane in x direction. Similarly, direction is same, y plane, x plane, y plane, and z plane. These are the all the nine components of the shear stress. Now, uh, fortunately, not all are unknown. Okay. Uh, Actually, tau xy is always equal to tau yx. Okay, this is the symmetry. This is the beauty of this stress. And so, tau xz is always equal to tau zx. Tau zy is always equal to tau yz. Okay. So, when the stresses are 9 component, in the same way, a strain will also have the 9 component. And so, a strain are denoted by Sij. I is also xyz and z is also xyz. So as you can see that this is the stress component, all the 9 stress component, and corresponding strain component are these. Okay. Okay, S X X X uh, XY XZ YX YY YZ ZX ZY and ZZ. These are actually linear component of the strain. Okay, and these are actually shear component of the strain. Okay, shear strain, deformation, and linear deformation. This is called linear deformation. When the direction and plane is the same, this is called linear deformation. Okay, एक ही direction में. So linear deformation can be represented as Sii is equal to del ui over del xi. What does it mean? It means that if it is xxx is equal to del u over del x, syy is equal to del v over del y, xzz is equal to del w over del z. That means linear deformation, you can define the gradient of the velocity in the same direction. Okay, gradient of u in the x direction, gradient of v in the y direction, gradient of v in the z direction. Okay, so now let us define the shear strain. Shear strain or deformation is Sxy is equal to xyx, as we already know. That is defined as half of del u over del y, means component of u in y direction. Okay, the change of u in y direction, change of v in x direction. Similarly, for the yz component of the strain can be written as half of change of velocity v in z direction, change of w in y direction. Okay, in opposite. Okay, and similarly for xz component, as you can see here, half of del u over del z plus del w over del x. So these are the definitions for the shear strain and linear strain. Okay, linear strain and shear strain. So volumetric strain means deformation can be given as divergence of the V. That's it. Means we just have to add all the linear deformation in all the 3 dimensions. This is actually SS. Deformation in x direction, x plane, deformation in y direction, in y plane, z direction in z plane. And so Adding all those linear deformation, you can get the volumetric deformation. That is nabla dot product of V. That V is defined as Ui plus Vj plus Wk, as I already said in the previous lecture. Now we would like to see that how we can write the stress in terms of strain. So the stress can be written as in terms of strain by this formula. This is tau II is equal to 2 times of mu SII plus lambda divergence of V. Means if you want to calculate the strain in x direction in x plane, there is a contribution by the linear deformation and as well as the volumetric deformation have also the contribution. These things you have to keep always in mind. So now how we can write it? Tau xx can be written as 2 times of mu SII is actually del u over del x, means velocity u in x direction plus divergence plus lambda divergence of v, means this linear deformation in the same plane in the same direction. You may also have the contribution by the volumetric deformation. Okay, the stress component is also have the components by the volumetric deformation, and this lambda is called the secondary viscosity of the fluid. There is not much information about this secondary viscosity of the fluid. However, you can find in the book of Hermann's listing, they have, I think, they took the value of lambda equal to minus times 2 by 3 of mu. I think this is the experimental result. And so this is the x deformation in x plane, y deformation of y plane in y direction. You can write it like this: 2 times of mu del v over del y plus plus this volumetric deformation. And so in the z plane like that. For the shear strain, for the shear stress, tau ij is equal to tau ji is equal to 2 times of mu Sij. I and j is equal to I can also vary from xyz and j can also be yacht. This is called yacht in German. So x, y and z. X, your, okay. So tau xy equal to tau yx equal to mu times of del u over del y, means velocity of u in y direction, gradient velocity of v in x direction. And keep in mind that this is actually an interesting phenomena, and similarly for the other plane and direction you can write in this way. Yeah, of course, in the listing book this secondary viscosity is written as a minus 2 by 3 times mu, as I already said. For the gases, good working approximation. So the contribution by this is very less. Okay, this is actually 66% of mu, and also with minus, means decrement. Okay, so we would like to put all those shear stress value of the shear stress in terms of velocity gradient. These are the stresses are written in terms of some constant, and that constant is mu, actually the dynamic viscosity of the fluid, and with some velocity gradient. And so let us write that. So rho times substantial derivatives of u with respect to t is equal to minus del p over del x plus del x of 2 times of mu del u over del x plus lambda divergence of v plus del y of u mu times del u over del y plus del v over del x plus del z of mu times del u over del z plus del w over del x plus some body forces. Okay, similarly I have also written for the y direction and z direction. So now we would like to rearrange all the viscous terms. Okay, so first let us write this viscous terms in a other way. Okay, so how we can write it? This is our the x direction viscous terms. These can be written as del x of mu del u over del x. How? This is actually 2 times of mu del u over del x. Okay, so first times you can write it. Okay, del x of mu times del u over del x. Okay, so I wrote it here. Okay, so now del y of mu del u over del y, how you can write it? This is actually this term. Okay, this is actually this term. Okay, so I wrote it. And similarly del z of mu del u over del z, you can write like that. So these are the green part. Okay, now mind that this is actually 2 times of mu del u over del x. So del x of mu into del u over del x is remaining already in this term, from this term. Okay, from this term we have one more term of mu times del u over del x with del x. Okay, so let us write here again the same term. Okay, so this is actually 2 times. So now we have remaining term del y plus del v over del x, that we have written here, and del z of mu times del w over del x, that I have written here, and finally del x of lambda divergence of v, I wrote it here. Okay, so now these terms can be vanished. How? Let us see. Del x and mu, take it as a common. Okay, and from here we have del v over del y, and here we have del w over del z. So we have actually mu times del x of, okay, let me write it here in another way. Okay, how we can write it here? Mu times okay, and here, so del x is here, so we have here del y, and there is no need of this and this, so there is here, this is z, and x is already written here, mu is also written here. So this is actually del u over del x, del v over del y, del w over del z. This is for the incompressible flow divergence of v, and that is 0. That is also a divergence of v. So mu times del x of divergence of v plus del x of secondary viscosity into divergence of v, and for the incompressible flow you can easily eliminate these terms. However, the contribution by these terms is very less, and it can be incorporated well with the body forces, and so there is uh, need to worry about this. And now this term can be written as del dot mu times gradient of u plus some body forces, and that body forces is also previous one and also incorporating this blue terms. Okay, so now Navier-Stokes equation can be written as, okay, let me write it here, rho. Okay, so this is rho, and then minus del p over del x plus putting all the shear stress terms, and now finally we have arrived at this equation. So similar way we wrote for all the three dimensions, for the v direction also, for the z direction also. So now I would like to elaborate this substantial derivatives of del u with respect to t. So rho times del u over del t plus u times del u over del x plus v times del u over del y plus w times del u over del z is equal to minus derivatives of p with respect to x plus divergence of mu into gradient of grade of u plus some body forces has been incorporated. So now this is called famous Navier-Stokes equation. In the same way we can write it for all the three dimensions. Now I would like to discuss about the beauty of this equation. Beauty of this equation and complexity is uh, also because as you can see that in the left hand side u is the derivatives of time, and also this is actually a non-linear term of the velocity. Okay, non-linear term of the velocity, and this is actually a kinetic energy of the fluid. Okay, u square, as you can see that rho u square is the kinetic energy of the fluid, and so this contribution of the turbulent flow by this component is very huge, and length scale of this phenomena may go from meter to kilometer, thousands of meter, as you can imagine, however you can imagine. It solely depends upon the flow field. Okay, what type of flow field we have, and this is the sole contribution of the energy. And now as you can see here in the right hand side we have a pressure gradient term, and we have here viscous terms. Okay, that is called diffusion term, and then some body forces. So let us consider that how mu for air is in the order of 10 to the power minus 5. Okay, exact value of mu is, I think, for the air is 1.7894 into 10 to the power minus 5, and for the water also this mu is 10 to the power minus 3. So this is very small, but this is associated with the second order derivatives with respect to u. However, it is a small, you cannot neglect it. Without taking into consideration of this whole viscous effect, you cannot determine the lift force and drag force. I am saying again, emphasizing. All of you may be aware about that without viscosity we cannot calculate the drag, but also without viscosity you cannot calculate the lift also, because if you will see the Kutta condition says that the flow should be smoothly Kutta condition for the vortex strength. Vortex is say that gamma at the trailing edge of the airfoil should be 0. Means flow should go through the airfoil smoothly till the end. This is the Kutta condition. And imposing the Kutta condition, you also are bound to consider the viscosity of the fluid. Nature imposes the Kutta condition only when you have the viscosity in the fluid. Okay, so it is very important. Without viscosity, however, without viscosity, there is a description how to define the lift forces. Okay, and we know from the Kutta-Joukowski theorem, you can easily define the lift forces without viscosity. But if you will see little bit more insight, I think it is impossible for the fluid to satisfy the Kutta condition for the flow over airfoil. And so uh, there is argument in the book of J.D. Anderson, Fundamental of Aerodynamics. Can we have the lift without viscosity? And I agree that yes, without viscosity we cannot have the lift. However, we are calculating, no problem, by satisfying the Kutta condition. Okay. So beauty of this equation is this goes length scale of this phenomena, velocity scale and length scale of this kinetic energy of the fluid goes very large, depends upon the flow domain, depends upon the mean velocity. But what is for this, what is the range of this scale? Okay, viscous scale. Viscous dominated fluid is at the boundary of the surface. Okay, so these diffusivity phenomena may have the length scale of micrometer, and velocity scale may be small as Kolmogorov scale. So if you would like to solve this equation from the first principle, Kolmogorov, okay, A and Kolmogorov have defined uh, the smallest EDs, size of the smallest EDs. So here the question comes, what are the relationship between the largest eddies and the smallest eddies produced by the viscosity? That will be the topic of my lecture of mm, lecture number 6. We will discuss it. And now the thing is, this Navier-Stokes equation, if you want to solve, okay, through the first principle, problem is you have to set the grid in such a way that it can calculate all the vortices, all the smallest eddies up to the largest eddies. And so you have the problem of high computation cost, because larger number of uh, grid points you may have. Okay, if you will directly solve this equation, and people for some standard case we have the DNS solutions, but for the engineering applications DNS is totally not useful, because the engineers need a solution, feasible solution in a short time, and they have the design problems. So, mm, so engineers avoid the DNS, but scientists love the DNS. Okay, because DNS will give you the physics of a smallest vortex, a smallest ADs to the largest ADs. Okay, and so we will see in the next lecture how the largest EDs and smallest EDs are associated. Okay, and thank you very much, and I hope that you will like this lecture. And if you have any questions to ask, you can comment on the comment box, and I will try to answer them. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope you have enjoyed the Navier-Stokes equation, the famous Navier-Stokes equation. Thank you very much.